Hello guys, my name is Angel Navarro. I'm from Loma University, and this is my video tutorial on a rocker bottom sole shoe modification. So I go ahead and use this shoe measuring device to get measurements of my sole from the mid-calcaneus area to the met head area, and I recorded these measurements down at 1 inch and 1/4 of an inch at the met head area. So I go ahead and grind it down on the sole. You can use a hacksaw or anything else, but I decided to use the grinding tools. So this is the cloud that I cut out. So this is 1/2 an inch, or actually 2 pieces of 1/4 of an inch. I glue them together to make it 1/2 an inch. So I go ahead and use barge, which is that glue that you saw, to go ahead and get the shoe to that cloud material together. And as you can see, it's together. I do 2 layers of that 1/4 inch, grand total of 1/2 an inch so far. And here's the thicker piece of cloud. So that one's going to be 1/2 an inch. So I go ahead and use the barge again to glue one side of the cloud, and in a moment I'm going to glue the side of the smaller pieces of cloud. I go ahead and throw the larger piece in the oven to get it a little heated, so that can form to the smaller pieces of cloud here. And I go ahead and start drying it with the heat gun, giving it some heat, just again so it can get that nice adhesion form. So I'll go ahead and take out that 1/2 inch cloud and go ahead and go to my desk. So I go ahead and apply the 2 pieces together and just make sure that I get all areas of contact. Push in, plantar flex if you will, just to make sure everything's nice and adhered. And here it is, that's what it looks like. So as I'm going through my process, I'm just making sure my measurements are right. So in this case, we're going to be adding 1/2 inch of material to the sole. So that's going to be a grand total of my original measurements plus the 1/2 inch. And we'll get to that later in the video. But here I cut some of the edges out with the cast saw just so that's easier to grind. And now I'm putting some tape on the sides of the shoe just so that when I'm grinding it doesn't scuff up the sides and don't ruin the patient's shoe. And then right here I go ahead and mark my mid-calcaneus area, just so you know this is where I want to stop that progression of the rocker bottom. And again, for the met head area, I want to stop that progression so that it doesn't go too far in, because that will create instability. So I'll go ahead and start grinding the sides here. So what we kind of want to do is like this flaring action on the sides, where on the lateral side it's going to be more stable. This allows for the shoe not to roll like you're going to roll your ankle. And just because we're adding 1/2 an inch of material, it's going to be a higher platform. So just want to make sure that the patient doesn't roll on their ankle. So I go and start, as you can see there, on the rocker bottom portion. So fast forward, this is what it looks like. Took about 30 to 45 minutes to get it done. We're not done yet. Just how it looks so far, both that first and toe rocker bottoms completed there. And now what we're going to use is this vibra material. This is basically going to give traction. So I go ahead and outline the area I want. As you can see, go ahead and cut it out. And again, we're going to be using barge. I think I do 2 layers this time just to make sure it adheres really well. But actually first, what you're going to do on either side, on the distal and proximal side, you're going to scythe it so that it's almost pretty much down to nothing. And as you can see, kind of in the video there, you can see that it's skyed down to about nothing. So I go ahead and start putting the barge on both sides. I put on the cloud and the vibram, and I do 2 layers, like I said. And then you can see me pressing it in, plantar flexing, if you will, pushing that first or that last toe rocker, and just making sure I'm getting all points of contact. Make sure it's good and adhered to. And as you can see, we're almost done. Now I have to cut the sides there so it's uniform with the cloud, and just to make sure that it's nice and even uniform, I start grinding the sides there. A lot of dust. All right, so now it looks pretty good. I go and remove the tape. the more satisfying part of the project. And looking pretty good. I noticed that there's some areas that were not even or not uniform with the shoe, and I want to get those off. And perfectionist in me, I just wanted to try to get as perfect as possible. So fast forward in time, and I knock it out, and it looks pretty good. So that is how you do a rocker bottom. And one last thing I wanted to add, I know that at the very beginning you saw me measure the med head sole and the mid calcaneus sole. So the med head sole was 1/4 of an inch, and the sole for the mid calcaneus was 1 inch. So adding material, it gave me a grand total of 1.5 inches of addition, right? So the total of soling that you have at the very end for the med head ended up being 1 3/4, and the mid calcaneus was 2.5 inches. So all the measurements were spot on. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you in the next video.